that on those ships were 4 Jews, a rabbi, a lawyer, a doctor, and a CPA. But meanwhile, a lot of the Jews, as you know, publicly converted and became the Marranos.
Well, you know what happened.
A lot of Jews did not convert publicly. They claimed to convert, but they were still Jewish. And a lot of them went north, and they kept on going until they got to some very... Anybody who's been to Spain or knows the map knows that the northwest part of Spain is very mountainous and very... Galicia, Asturias, Cantabria.
Yes.
And a lot of the Jews settled in there.
And Basque.
That's right. And a lot of the Jews settled in there. And for centuries and centuries and centuries, they kept their traditions alive. Well, in the 1950s, Alan Lomax went to Spain, and he was collecting, he wanted to collect Spanish traditional music. But he was looking for non-mainstream. He was looking for Gitano,
non-Catalano.
That's right. He was looking for Catalan, he was looking for Basque, he was looking for Jewish. And every time he would ask for Jewish music, he would say, Música judía, música judía. Yo quiero música judía. And they don't look at him like they'd like to be somewhere else. Well, the day before...
It's not like Spain never had Jews.
Well, no, wait a minute. Well, remember, this is Franco's Spain.
Oh.
So, the day before...
But he protected his Jews. He wouldn't let Hitler have them.
No, but he was also very Catholic and very traditional and nationalistic.
All right, okay. Yeah, but he wouldn't let them be deported. That's what I'm saying.
No, it was like the Bulgarian Jews. Well, Boris didn't allow his Jews to go. Anyway, there's another story. So, the day that before Alan Lomax went back to the United States, he gets a visit from the head of the Cultura Nacional something, one of those long names. And the guy said to him, Mr. Lomax, we hope you had a good time in Spain, and we hope you have a safe trip back to the United States, and we hope you'll never come back again. Because what it turned out was that while Alan Lomax had been in Spain, he was followed by the Guardia Nacional Civil, Politico.
Oh, Guardia Nacional Civil.
Yeah, that's another name for the Spanish version of the
Secret Service.
Secret Service. Yeah. Or what in Iran was called the, what was the name of the secret police that the Shah had? Sabak. It was a Spanish Sabak. Anyway, Judith goes to Spain in the 80s, and she hooks up with a bunch of gypsies, and they're all going north, and they say to her, would you like to meet some crypto Jews?
Oh, right.
Some what? Crypto Jews.
Yeah.
Jews who supposedly have been around for 500 years. Well, they weren't crypto Jews, they were real Jews. She goes to them, and of course she speaks like 20 languages, including Basque and Catalan, and Provençal, and Mirandese, and Hebrew, and Yiddish, and everything.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, so the first question they said to her was, is the Inquisition still out there looking for us?
Which is a perfectly legitimate question.
These people have been hiding for 500 years.
They never heard of the Carlist period.
But here's the interesting thing about this. Because of this, in the early 70s, I actually encountered real crypto Jews in northern New Mexico. I was looking for cuentos populares, I was looking for folk tales, and I got to Taos. And a friend of mine who lives in Taos says, I want to introduce you to somebody, and it was an old man, a little, what's they call, viejito muy genio, a genius.
Typical abuelo.
Typical abuelo, typical grandfather, who knew a lot of stories. And he said to me, I know some people that you should talk to, they're very strange. I said, why are they strange? He said, because every Friday night they do some funny things. They put candles out on their window, and they have this strange something or other going on.
They cover their heads with some kind of cloth. Exactly.
And they do this strange ritual with certain kinds of bread and wine. Anyway, the long and short was I actually met this family, and they were crypto Jews, or rather they were
from Spain, not from Mexico.
Well, you see, I have to understand. The people in New Mexico never consider themselves Mexican, they consider themselves Hispanic. To them, the Mexicans are what are called gachupin. They're city slickers.
All right.
And the gachupin is the gachupin is the fella that comes along and they make a joke.
They sneer at everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, these people consider themselves Hispanic for like 800 years.
Wow.
And I said to them, what are some of your what are some of your rituals? They say, well, in our family, we have generations of ritual, but something very interesting happened. From generation to generation, they continued the rituals, but guess what? They forgot why. They forgot why. They forgot. We just do it because mi padre and mi abuelo and mi
Yeah, and the whole family.
The whole family did it. And,
Right.
And they were it absolutely, they were absolutely fascinating people, and they
That's
talked
amazing.
about. And
I'm Jewish and I'm amazing.
Hold on a second. I said, what kind of prayers do you have? And they said, well, we actually have our Friday evening prayers, but they showed me a book of prayers of the non-Jewish population in New Mexico. Now, in northern New Mexico, there is an institution called the Morada. The Morada is the chapel where only men can go around Easter. And until about 100 years ago, there was a sect in New Mexico called Los Penitentes.
Los Penitentes.
You ever hear what they do to themselves?
Although they're going to flagellate.
They flagellate. Well, at one time they actually chose
They're
one
like
person.
the Opus Dei in Dan Brown's.
Exactly. But Fred, you know that at one time the Penitentes used to actually choose one of their members voluntarily to play the role of the crucified.
Yeah, they used to crucify.
They would crucify. They would
Nails through the hands and everything?
Yes.
Good grief!
Yes, until New Mexico became part of the United States in 1848 by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo after the Mexican War of American aggression, among other things.
Naturally.
They were a power in New Mexico. In fact, there's a book called Brothers of Light, Brothers of Darkness, the whole history of them.
Good grief!
And they still exist in the Philippines, by the way. Their crucifixions are symbolic now.
Symbolic, yes. Well, that does
I mean,
a lot less wear and tear on the volunteer.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But they have a kind of a book of common prayer, and in the 1970s, Dean Robb, who was the great the doyen of New Mexico Hispanic folklore, collected a lot of this stuff, and one of the prayers he collected in the 1970s, collected it from an little old grandmother, about 96. What do you pray for every day? And she says, in our prayers we say, save us from our mortal and implacable enemies, the Moor, the Apache, and the Jew.
Oh.
And that's still in, I can show you the prayer book.
Well, wait a minute. This is Christian prayer.
This is Christian.
Yeah,
save us from the Moor, because of course they were the enemies of the Moors in Spain.
The Apaches, they hated all whites.
Exactly, and the Jews were the
enemies of Christ.
That's right.
And
Oh my God.
everyone hates the Jews.
Oh my God. Everybody hates the Jews. But it's National Brotherhood Week. National Brotherhood Week. National League.
No.
To one another.
Or dancing cheek to cheek. I thought about that this Did you
Oh, he's been listening to them all the time.
Did you see, by the way, the traffic? I don't know if anybody was in Midtown on Friday for the funeral for Lena Horne.
No, I heard.
Oh my
I'll bet.
God! Everybody who was anybody, and they had everybody there, and somebody actually got up and sang "Stormy Weather," which I didn't know was her signature
That's
song.
lovely.
Yeah.
93 she went. 93. That's incredible. Listen, I hope I can sing at 93.
Make hay while the sun shines.
I'd like to sing now.
I got a question about the crypto Jews.
Right.
They have largely forgotten why they were doing the prayers.
Yes.
If you ask them what religion they were, they say, oh yeah, well we're Catholic.
No, they say they're Jewish.
No, but they forgot.
But they forgot
Yeah,
why.
because the Inquisition isn't there. The Holy Office has no jurisdiction in the United States, and American citizens may not be pressed into the service of a foreign prince.
People who consider themselves Jews who are no longer worried about the Inquisition could make inquiries about the other people who have been Jews all along and have not had to
Well,
worry
you know
about
the route.
it.
You know the route that the Jews took from when Titus destroyed the temple and brought back the candelabra and the rest of the stuff that's on that frieze, the Arch of Titus, that carved in, and they're bringing back the big candelabra from the Temple of Solomon. They left, except for a small community of old rabbis and sages who stayed in Safad, and the rest of them were dispersed. They went into diaspora for 2,000 years. They went into Western Europe and in the southern part because it was closer to Judea, which was what we call Israel today. Maybe the map wasn't exactly the same, but it was the same area. So they went into a place called in Hebrew Sepharad. That's where you get the word Sephardic.
It means the land of milk and honey or something.
Yes.
Interesting.
And then they went. When